Alright, we're going to start from the beginning. I just put that slip knot on the bottom needle, and I'm going to wrap around 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then I'm going to rotate the needles and pull the bottom needle out for the first half knit. And these are going to feel loose, and that's perfectly fine. I mean, I don't expect these to be tight at all. And it's going to feel real weird to hold on to everything, but this becomes easier the more often you do it. And that's 8 stitches there. So now we're going to come to the first slip knot and just take it out. Take that out. And again, we're going to rotate. We're not flipping. If we flip, then you have a purl side. We're not doing that. We just finished this. We're going to rotate it over. And now we are working still on the knit side, but we're going to change the needle. So now you've got the bottom needle is free, and we're working off the stitches of the top needle. Okay. And all the while, this yarn here, this is your tail cast on. It's kind of a pain because it gets loose. You want to have it long enough that you can tug on it and handle it, but not so long that you confuse it with your working yarn. So give that tail a little tug. It'll be fine even if it's loose. Don't worry. And now I told y'all I would try to do this continental, or rather American. Let me see. I'm going to knit this is the second half of the foundation. There. And now we have our foundation cast on. We're going to use the bottom yarn again. It's on the bottom needle. We're going to pull it to the top and pull that bottom needle out. This is where we start our increases. I'm so in the habit of working continental. Let's see if I can still do this. All right. We're going to slip that stitch, or rather slip your needle a bit in the first stitch, and we're going to knit it, and don't take it off of the needle. Now we're going to work it to the back and make the increase by knitting in the back. Then you slide it over. That one stitch has now become 2. That's what you want. And then we're going to knit to the second to the last stitch. Here. And we're going to do it again. The increase is knit in the front. Don't take it off the needle, and you're going to knit the back. Now you have 2 where there was 1, and you're going to knit the last stitch. Now this is where I think we might be getting into problems. When we rotate the work, we want to be certain that it's on the knit side, first of all, and that this yarn doesn't get wrapped around. I'm going to show you here. I'll try to. This is what the yarn should look like. If you turn this yarn up this way, you see how there's 1 stitch there? If you work the yarn, rather than go to the back, if you work the yarn up the front, now what you've done is you've turned those stitches And now you're going to have what looks like 2 active stitches on the bottom needle. I think that is what might be happening. When Jim was working his socks, I noticed that a couple of times that the tendency is to come up this way, and this was happening. So you want to be sure that when you pull this bottom yarn, that you pull it to the back so that we keep just the 1 needle on there. I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to do one more increase with you, and then I will post this video. So knit in the front. Don't take it off the needle. And see what just happened there? That's another thing that might be happening. If you noticed, go back and see I had 2 stitches on the needle, because rather than come in the hole, I went under, and that picked up this bar on the bottom. So be certain on the first stitch, this is where we're getting hung up. You put the needle through the loop very carefully so we're not picking up any other stitches. And then we're going to knit in the front and in the back. And don't worry if these stitches are loose. That's going to happen. It's fine. It works itself out, surprisingly. So do that. Look at those 2 things. Make sure that we're picking up this yarn properly, and that when we're knitting that we're not going under that bar, that we're going straight through the knit when we increase. All right, I hope that helps. I'm going to post this and then check up on you in a bit.